Hey, Kashyap.
Hello. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, Kashyap, I can.
Yes. Okay. So I'm just going to share my screen quickly. This we'll start the session in 2 minutes. I'll just introduce you both in the before the session starts, and then you can take over the screen and start the session. Last 5 minutes we dedicated to Q&A session. So like I'll tell that to the participants accordingly.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
In fact, we plan to have more time for Q&A, Kashyap.
Yeah.
Probably
You
about
can take the questions even during the session if you deem fit, like as you deem fit. But usually speakers are taking it at the end, but like you can take it whenever. So like that is fine with me.
sure. Okay. So basically, we'll have to look at the chat window to know the questions, right? And then,
Correct. So like probably when one of you is speaking, the other can take up the Q&As. You can also type the answers there if they can be just their small answers, and even if they are like that, then you can do that both, right?
okay.
Awesome. So we will start in just a minute or so. Let a few people join in, and then we'll start.
Sure.
First, you are introducing us, and then we are starting, right?
Correct. I'll introduce you, and then you'll start.
Sure.
Hello and welcome back, everyone, to the Skillup 2021 day one. Before we start the next session, I would like to remind you that you stand a chance to win a copy of the ebook "The Economics of Data Analytics and Digital Transformation" by Bill Schmarzo. To participate in the contest, make sure that you make a lot of buzz on social media, on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. The more buzz you create, the more chances you have to win the competition. Uh, our next session, for our next session, we have with us Prasad Srinivasa, Assistant Vice President at Genpact, and Sourav Saha, Academic Dean at Praxis Business School. Today, they will talk with us about the fastest growing job in the tech sector, that is data engineering. Prasad has over 20 years of experience in the industry, building AI and ML solutions, frameworks, and products in several banks and financial institutions. His expertise includes machine learning, NLP, customer analytics, optimization, among many others. He's well versed in developing and implementing data driven solutions based on advanced analytics techniques. Sourav is a machine learning professional and educator in advanced analytics and also has close to 2 decades of global experience around data-driven insights in technology consulting and R&D. He has a doctoral thesis on mining massive datasets using biologically inspired algorithms for distributed decision processing. He has taught data mining and computational advertising to postgraduate and executive programs at IIM Calcutta as a visiting faculty. Prior to Praxis, Sourav was the tenured chairperson for Data Science and Analytics program at NMIMS and was instrumental in launching several programs in applied analytics for undergraduate students and postgraduate executives. Together, Prasad and Sourav will be talking about the growing importance of data engineering and what it takes to make a career in the field. Uh, Attendees, please feel free to ask your questions in the Q&A tab or the chat box. Uh, Prasad and Saurav can take them as they deem fit. Uh, so let's start with the session. I'll stop sharing my screen.
Thank you, Kashyap. Thank you. Thank you so much for the introduction. So I'm just checking. I hope I'm audible as well as visible, right? I'm just
Yes, you are.
Yes. Thank you so much. So, friends, have you ever wondered that how would you react if you're browsing your product on Amazon and then there's a small pop-up message which comes up? It says that you're in queue to let you know when you can enter the website. Or Did it ever cross your mind that what would have happened if you're typing your query on Google and Google replied, "Thank you, we'll come back to you tomorrow with the answer"? Would these businesses who were the blue-eyed boy of the Wall Street, it would have been so much successful like there today? So our webinar today, session today, is driven by the objective of introducing people to this fascinating world of data engineering that till yesterday was the secret sauce of very large corporations like Microsoft, Amazon, and Apple. So we'll demystify the field and let you know the exciting career options it provides in the digital world of yours. So I'm Dr. Sourav Saha. I spent a significant time of my life in the field of data science, having started my career as a business analyst in the BI field, moving to consulting in BI, research on web algorithms, building data science practice before embarking a full career in academics. At Praxis, currently I'm leading the data science and data engineering program and looking into how the combined experience of the wonderful academic team with continuous support from leading organizations in data science area can bring value to the student community. So I have with me distinguished member from the industry, Mr. Srinivasa Prasad, AVP from Genpact. So now, in the course of the webinar, what both of us will try to address are some of the queries and doubts in the data engineering field. Like, what is data engineering and why there is a huge buzz around it right now? How is data engineering different from data science? What kind of opportunities does data engineering offer as a career? How do you decide whether you should try to be a part of this exciting domain? What does it take to be a successful data engineer? And how do you start this wonderful journey, the data engineering field? So I'm proud to inform you that Genpact is the knowledge partner for the Praxis data engineering program. And Mr. Prasad has been supporting us immensely with his valuable inputs. So without much ado, I would like to ask Mr. Prasad some of the questions the audience is keen on knowing. Most importantly, what is data engineering and why there is a huge buzz around it? On to you, Mr. Prasad.
I believe you can hear me and see me, right, Saurav?
Yeah, perfectly.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you so much. I believe you agree with me that data explosion in current times is unprecedented, with consumers, customers sharing their preferences, emotions through various channels and devices at high frequency. And also the device sensors spitting out the conditions almost every 30 seconds, etc., etc., etc. All the data coupled with the internal performance data is so important for each and every organization to create hyper personalized or almost personal offer to stay relevant and competitive. Hence, organizations have been collecting large amounts of data from multiple channels in different formats. The data could be structured, semi-structured, and unstructured too. How much of data is useful, how much of it is accurate, etc., would be big questions to each and every organization. So, in my view, data engineering is all about collecting, provisioning, and maintaining right quality data for insights. For doing that, the data engineer would need to design and develop scalable data architecture and set up processes that bring data together from various sources. Check the data quality, design and develop data quality rules for remediating the corrupt data. That's how I define the data engineering. With the COVID, many organizations, including banks and the financial institutes, who are relatively slow adopters with technology, have accelerated their cloud journey. We at Genpact have about 1,800 data engineers serving Fortune 500 companies across different industry verticals. Moreover, in January 2021, Genpact acquired industry-leading data engineering and analytics firm, Inquiro, to drive the next generation of enterprise digital transformation. Also, to quote from the market, even the Accenture has also acquired big data and AI service solutions company Cogentics in the aim of strengthening its data engineering business. So there is a huge demand for competent data engineers. So it's not just with the Genpact, but across the industry. This is the time to immerse in it and grab the opportunity. I'm sure, having heard very good things about the data engineering, you must be interested in knowing more about how it is different from the data science. Let me ask our professor Saha, what's your take on how data science and data engineering differs? Over to you, professor.
Thank you, Mr. Prasad. So this is a question which I encounter very frequently. How is data science and data engineering different? In fact, when you see the organizations, the way in which these particular roles are defined, there is a very thin line between the two. But again, as this particular industry is maturing, more and more differences are coming between them. So if you ask me traditionally, the people who have been the statisticians, analysts, people who work with the numbers, builds models out of the data, actuaries, they're the ones who choose the path of data science. This particular journey of the data scientist is one where you can handle good amount of data, but most importantly, you know that how the underlying data looks like. You can analyze the underlying data, see how it behaves with relationship to the other data features, relationship it behaves to the target variable which is there, and then you model the data in such a way that you can get valuable insight out of it. So typically, the role of a data scientist would be to find out the nuances of the data and find out those valuable insights which can drive the business. Having said this, data engineers are the one who was probably graduated from the DBA current form. So earlier, the DBAs were the ones who were the custodian of the organization's all data. They were looking after all the databases which are out there, giving accesses and permissions to the people in the organization, the vendors for data, for the systems, and they have actually gone to the area of data engineering. People who maintain those systems, maintain all the data pipelines, maintain those different kinds of databases all around the world, and they make sure that this data is there, which is made accessible to the business, data scientists, so that the entire business can run. That is what data engineers are doing. So again, in a nutshell, data engineers actually create the underlying system based on which the business can run, and the data scientists, they can generate the insights. That is what is my take, this data science versus this data engineering. So again, as you see that they have a lot of similarities, and the career opportunities there are also quite significant. So see, as we move forward in this broad area of data as an educator, so I get the feeling that data engineering is going to get progressively more exploiting the power of data for an organization. So Prasad, I mean, you are in the leadership role in this particular area and have built a business advising clients on making data work for them. Are you seeing a serious demand for data engineering professionals? In other words, how do you look at this data engineering as a career opportunity today and in the future? What kind of opportunity exists in the industry? Let's start with your own organization only. Genpact. What do you?
Sure, Professor. Thank you. So, in Genpact, we have a variety of opportunities from junior to senior levels. I would say there are, at a high level, three types of opportunities are the services that we at Genpact have. First one is the data orchestration services, which is more about data integration, data enrichment. And the second one is about the data architecture and the governance. So it's more about data. I would say that modernization. What I meant to say is that it's about moving the data to the cloud, or developing a data warehousing, or data consolidation is something that could be part of that. And the second one under the data architecture and governance is about big data as a service. It's about big data, data lake services for data enrichment. The other one is about data governance for data quality, data lineage, master data, metadata, so on and so forth. All these things are under the umbrella of data architecture and governance. And the third one is about data strategy advisory. I would say that this is something that I feel for the experienced individuals. It's more about developing, defining, designing, and developing data strategy and cloud roadmap for enterprise data oriented initiatives. Tools advisory or tool selection across the data landscape, and also some things on the AML and advanced analytics services also. So this is all the advisory part, now data strategy advisory, I would say. And each of these can be further elaborated or more elaborated depending on the industry and the domain in which they operate. So these are the typical opportunities that we see, Professor, in Genpact, and also in the outside market as well. Over to you, Professor.
Prasad, I think that was a very interesting segregation that you talked about. My understanding, this entire stream of data engineering that you talked about by November, data orchestration service, data integration, data enrichment, this architecture, big data, data governance. I think these are some of the skills, some of the requirements, which probably cuts across the different industry verticals. So I know you are an expert in the banking and the financial domain, but I think this particular skill set be used across the various different domains, so be it marketing, be it finance, HR, manufacturing, this kind of a skill sets. Wherever the organizations, they are generating a lot of data, wherever customers are interacting with the business, wherever there are a lot of vendors and the business inside, they are only generating a lot of data. All these skills very much necessary. So I'm just wondering, I mean, you have given a very good start to this. Can you just help mystify a little bit more that what exactly does it take to be a successful data engineer in the industry? What is what that the industry is demanding? What kind of a knowledge should a learner come to the industry to be recognized as a data engineer? On to you, Mr. Prasad.
Sure, Professor. So I would say for somebody to be data engineer, one would require three skills. First one is data literacy. A second one is technical prowess. And the third one is about knowledge and hands-on experience of use cases or applications of data engineering. Let me elaborate. First one is the data literacy. It's about reading and interpreting the data, and that's the most important aspect. I would say needed skill for someone to be a data engineer. That's how I've been groomed in Genpact as well. The second one is technical prowess, and I have certain points covering the technical prowess. First thing is the be good at programming. What I meant to say is that you pick any programming language. Let's say that you start with Python and SQL. When I say programming, you got to be good at flowchart and algorithm development. It's not just for finding the prime numbers, but for any kind of challenge, you should be able to develop the algorithms on your own. So, which means to say that you could pick up any programming language, given that you know how to develop the flowcharts and algorithm development. And also, you should have some thinking about how any feature in any of the data engineering tool works. So, right? And also, you should have a thinking about how you could achieve it using your own programming language, right? So basically, that gives you very good clarity, confidence, and also lets you appreciate the designers and the developers of such tool. And the second one under the technical prowess is build expertise in data modeling. It's all about data, right? Data is not in one single data table. So identifying what data is needed, how all the data is connected, plus understanding how to read data model, how to design and develop a data model, entity relationship diagram. That's the second aspect under the technical prowess. The next one is about becoming comfortable, or be comfortable with at least one database, RDBMS, such as MySQL, Oracle, or Teradata, or you can explore other tools such as NoSQL as well. Understand how the data is stored, managed in various database systems. How to join more than one table to prepare the data for reporting, dashboarding, or machine learning models. That's a very important aspect. The next one is about big data understanding and hands-on experience. Is a great advantage, I would say. So these are the ones that I would consider as the technical prowess. One talked about the programming. Next one is the data modeling. The other one is RDBMS experience. And added advantage is going to be a big data understanding and cloud understanding and hands-on experience. The third aspect is very important. I think this is going to address Kaustav Patil's question as well. So this is something that you can do with your existing, like even if you are a fresher, that's something that you can do. Pick up a couple of use cases from websites of leading service providers like Genpact, Accenture, or Deloitte. Think over it. Try solving it yourself and discuss with others what data could have been used, what could have been the architecture, so on and so forth. Basically, what this helps is this would expose you to the challenges and the respective solutions. The next aspect is interesting one. I like doing it. So develop enterprise data integration solutions using publicly available data. For example, if you are interested in banking, so you can go to Kaggle and take Kaggle data from different computations, such as home credit default prediction, Santander customer satisfaction, Santander product recommendation. These are different computations and the data is over there. So try integrating that data. So because these are from different functions, right? For the same banking institute, financial institute, what's going to happen is that basically there is no right or wrong here while trying that. So basically this would basically it will create so many set of questions in your mind. Try answering them one by one, and this is going to give you greater clarity, and you could definitely talk about such kind of work in your Kaggle account, and also in your interviews as well. Keep those playbooks of your work ready. So net, I would say you need to have data literacy, technical prowess, and the third one is about knowledge and hands-on experience of use cases or applications of data engineering. So having answered the skills necessary, let me ask professors how you would recommend getting started with the data engineering career. In our time, the terms we are talking about didn't even exist, right? So nobody has even heard of the cloud. So Professor Saha, what do you think should a candidate focus on when embarking a career in data engineering? Over to you, Professor.
Prasad. I mean, you have already answered most part of it. Hardly left anything for me to say. But again, I mean, to me, it's the combination of a set of skills, knowledge, background experience, and the interest of the candidate. The first thing which you talked about is the data literacy part. Now, if someone wants to embark a career in this area of data science or data engineering, it's very important for that particular person to have a good understanding of the data, have some kind of a comfortness with the different kinds of data which exist in the world. Structured data, unstructured data, data which is not only in the textual format or in the row column format. Data like the video data, audio data, like blogs, so many kinds of data are emerging every day. So fundamentally, again, if we see, one part is the structured part, one part is the other unstructured part. Now, if someone is looking at processing this kind of data, see the way in which we process this data. There's a similar way we have instructed these machines to process this data. So our mind only have created these algorithms, the systems which are there. So if someone has fundamentally a very good understanding of this entire data ecosystem, that person is bound to be successful in this particular domain. That's one. The first one is the data literacy part. The second part is the technical progress. As you rightly said, that probably during your time and again in my time, this kind of terms, this cloud computing, big data, social media didn't even exist. It didn't even exist. So some people might be thinking that are these dinosaurs of the world? No, it was just 20, 25 years back. They were existed also. But the fundamental things like understanding our database, RDBMS, things like programming skills, those can be transferred subsequently as and when techniques, technologies comes in. This particular field is growing at a very, very rapid pace. And these top companies, be it Google or Amazon's or Microsoft, they are competing heavily to gain a foothold in the market by trying to make their own platform market standard. So every 6 months, now and then, you'll find that new platforms are emerging. And probably you might think that, okay, how many new platforms to learn, right? So many different kinds of platforms are there. Their architecture is different. How do I keep up? If you can keep your fundamentals at a level, have a very strong base for that, that should help you, irrespective of whatever technology changes are coming. And lastly, what I think Mr. Prasad also emphasized, that have this clarity in the mind as to if there is a business problem, how am I going to solve this particular business problem? What does it take to solve a problem like this? If I'm the owner of the business, what do I need to do to solve this problem? What new kinds of data is required? What new kinds of skills are required? How do I process this information? What kind of insights are required? So once you know all these things, so obviously, every piece of the puzzle can't be answered by one person. But again, here is this entire team of data scientists, data engineers, database administrators, collectively, this huge team out there, as Mr. Prasad was saying, 1,800 people in Genpact. He can solve this kind of a. So at Praxis, when we started any program, what we do is we take a lot of input from our recruiters as to what is their focus area, what kind of a skills they are looking at. And again, in the last few years, last 2 years, most of them, they came back saying that they are struggling with this overload and the shortage of data engineers. Right now, most of these organizations, they have understood that data is a key to surviving and to transforming their businesses. So there is this huge overload from their own customers, their own vendors, right? And also they're looking at data of their computers as well. So which makes the data engineers extremely valuable in this particular kind of ecosystem. Also, what I did was I spoke extensively with my students who are working in large organizations as to what kind of skills were desired when they had probably graduated. After collecting all the information, it was very evident that data engineering it requires some kind of a focused skill set and a different kind of approach compared to data science. That is probably right now the blue-eyed boy in the job market. So that made us conceive a focused approach to or for the future of data engineers. They have their focus on one, understanding and working with data, all kinds of data, from traditional structure to big data, working with masters data, data overload, all that things. That is one of the pieces I talked about, which Mr. Prasad also resonated. Two is managing the technologies, essentially managing the data warehouses, data lakes, and the clouds. In short, getting proficiency on the data platforms that have been running this successful businesses. And then these data engineers, at some point in time, they should be poised or geared to take charge as the CIO of the organization, of the organization. Now, they should have this understanding and this appreciation that what does it really mean? Manage and running the enterprise business. What does it take? How cloud impact their business? Whether to have the data in-house, the cloud, what kind of a systems to put in, what kind of investments to make, all those pieces. So those are some of the fundamental skills that will be required. So again, as long as people are having their fundamentals strong, right, I think they should be able to sail through, come what may, whatever technology comes. But again, having shared this particular recipe with the audience, I'm also keen on knowing that why Genpact partnered with Axis. What were the key things that motivated you to partner with us? What do you, Mr. Prasad?
Yeah, sure, Professor. In fact, we've been recruiting from Praxis every year. One thing that we have appreciated is that the students coming out of Praxis have a robust understanding of the fundamentals and are exposed to the business ideas or business sides of the data science. To summarize, a few reasons I would say are well structured and spaced learning oriented course curriculum in trimester. In each trimester, crisp theory and elaborative work, lab work on assignments and use cases, relevant and contextual capstone projects with real life data. More importantly, a competitive meritocratic environment that fosters learning for students. This is something that the students have told us after they joined Genpact. With all of this, Genpact could hire a data engineer who is exposed to the various challenges the data poses and deploy a candidate to the client's project much sooner. Praxis structured approach, methodology, and depth ensures that the learners have had a much shorter learning curve and can be much more productive at the early stage of their career. So, with all this, the partnership with Praxis for Genpact has been very fruitful, Professor.
Thank you so much, Prasad. Thanks so much for validating our approach and methodology. In fact, actually try to validate our courses, curriculum every year from the academics, from the industry. And then what I have seen is that after so much of updating the curriculum from the academics industry, experiences that the individuals always face a dilemma all the time, particularly the people who will be embarking on this journey. First of all, what career to choose? Should I go for data science, data engineering? I think we have clearly elaborated that. Okay. If you have a keen understanding of the mathematics, some bit of understanding of programming, and you love to solve problems, challenges, data science is the way to go. If you're someone who loves handling technologies, handling these different kinds of systems, working with large data, probably data engineering is the career, and you should take up. Now, again, irrespective of whatever career you choose, I think a good amount of time spent on focusing on the concepts and projects, and the ecosystem of faculty and mentorship is there along with the peers who can help accelerate this learning process. See, at the end of the day, these are complex things to learn and digest. The technology, the ecosystem is changing so fast that to keep up with the technology, with what all the organizations are working on, all with this, after a certain point in time, it's really very difficult. But again, a structured and a focused learning approach is what help you tremendously new. So one, if you have your fundamentals correct, and two is that if you're always learn to solve problems, I think the rest of the other things will be sorted out. Right? That's what I have to share from my side. Now I'll request the organizations from Skillup. They can share some of the questions with us. Be happy to answer that. Happy to take the questions from the audience and share our insights with them.
Yeah, there are a couple of questions, Professor, like from Swapnil Mane and Pradyum Joshi. So I'll read out the questions. Probably I'll try attempting at it. Professor, you chime in, you add to it. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. So what will be the future of data engineering, and what will be the role of data engineer? So this is coming from Swapnil. I'm trying to answer this. So data engineering is more about collecting, provisioning, and maintaining the. I'm so sorry. Okay. So data engineering is all about collecting, provisioning, and maintaining the quality data for insights, right? So as a data engineer, you are supposed to be developing scalable data architectures, streamlining the data acquisition, set up some processes to bring together all the data together, right, from several sources, check the quality, develop, design and develop the quality rules for remediating the corrupt data. So all that is something part of the data engineer's roles and responsibilities. So, and in terms of the future, see, as we speak, like I believe, millions of consumers are using their WhatsApp, Facebook, or so on and so forth to generate the data. So all the data is so much information to the each and every company. So that's going to grow, right? So definitely you need to ensure that data is well structured, organized, so that the organization can take better decisions, right? So the future of data engineering is going to be definitely definitely what I would say is that AI and ML, AI enabled. What I meant to say is that there could be some processes that could be uh, done by automated processes. So so the future is going to be very bright for the data engineers, because as professor has mentioned, data engineering is the foundation for any organization to take any decisions in the marketplace. So professor, if you want to add any, please do.
Yeah, so few things I'll tell. I mean, which I think young audience would be able to connect. When Facebook started at the initial days. Mark Zuckerberg was coding Facebook. Initially, he started off with something like a simple database, a MySQL kind of database, where the data was stored. And then when he made this particular platform public, all you can do with the platform was probably post pictures and post comments. And then slowly, things like analyzing those comments, like ranking those comments, ranking those sentiments of the comments, all those things also came. And then graduating, you could post videos, uh, audios, and these days you can post, I think, anything and everything. So what will happen is that this evolution of data, uh, as and when the human civilization progresses, the evolution of data will also keep on progressing. Come what may, data engineers will be required by every organization. Only the complexities that they're going to handle, that's going to change. But this whole, my understanding, is something which will be probably some kind of a permanent role, the job market. That's what I'll probably advise. The next question, Mr. Prasad, is from Pradyuman Joshi. He's saying that how to start a career in data engineering. I think we have already answered that part. But again, I'll just reiterate. Uh, as I said, that the pace at which technology platforms they are changing, it's very difficult for you to gain proficiency or mastery on each and every platform. Not possible. Not possible. Not possible even to gain a proficiency on the programming language. They're all out. Just to share a small insight with you, companies like Amazon or Google, what they do is that for the internal processes, they do have their own programming languages, which is not even made open to the public. Right? So again, how you're going to cope up in this particular world. So the trick lies in, as we said, that make sure that your fundamentals are strong. If you have a strong basis, strong foundation, the data literacy part, data platforms part, and some bit of understanding of how business operates with data, irrespective of what kind of a data comes in, irrespective of what kind of a programming languages are there, systems are there. Again, in a nutshell, start off in the data engineering path. First, focus on one or two programming languages, which are right now essential group skills, things like Python, R, Java, Scala. These are some of the essential programming languages which can probably help you adapt any kind of systems the organizations they are using. Second comes the database. Still the traditional Oracle database or the MySQL database, how they works, the entire ER diagram, right? Data normalization, all those things are still very fundamental. Probably starting a career in the data engineering space. See, at the end, we're going to handle massive amount of data, structured, unstructured, video, audio, everything. So again, it's structured data, unstructured data, but the way in which data is indexed, that's indexed in a structured way, right? You have your fundamentals right. You should be poised enough to handle all this different kind of terms, systems which are coming in. And last thing, never focus on the business. See, all these things that we are doing, the data systems, are to ensure one, that the business is running smoothly, and two, is that the business, the usual business of the organization, that is not hampered. You might come up with a multi-million dollar kind of business proposal. But again, until and unless you are not affecting the organization's business, probably the stakeholders, the stakeholders will look at it. But again, if you want to start something on a clean slate afresh, chances that you get only few takers. Make sure that the business as usual is not hampered, and then probably incrementally you can build value additions on top of it. That is what should be focusing on. But again, which once again brings us back to what we have been saying, that focus on the business.
Yes, if I may add a point.
Please.
For the juniors, for somebody who is not experienced, right, fresh out of the college or the campus, one thing that I would say is that all the time we look for some kind of application bent of mind from you. So you have access to large amounts of data of your own, right? Facebook, WhatsApp. So all this data is something that you can take and ingest and see. Maybe now you can do a simple analysis on how much time you are spending on these. Can you spend on something else? What are the themes that you are doing with this different social platforms? So you can do some bit of analysis and have those playbooks and then showcase in the interview. So that's what we definitely look for. So thank you, Professor. I just wanted to add that point.
Yes.
Sure. I think next question is from Swapnil Mane, who's saying that what will be the role of data engineers? I think we have probably briefly touched upon this. You already said that in the organization, what kind of roles are available. Okay? So yeah, maybe you can elaborate on some kind of job roles. Typically, from my side, what I see is that there will be a set of people like will be handling the database. The database administrator kind of role will be one which will be there.
Yeah.
Then there will be people who will be doing the ETL kind of roles, right? Who will take the data from different kinds of systems and put it all together. So that will be the second kind of role which will be there in the organization. Third kind of role will be the one which will probably be cleaning the data, making sure that the data purity, data sanctity is maintained, so that this data is useful for the organization. Get to probably extract meaning out of this data.
Yeah.
These are
Sorry.
the three things I see. Yeah.
Yeah,
Kashyap.
sorry to cut you, Sourav. I think we are actually running out of time and we have to start the next session in 3 minutes. But I'm sure that you can catch up in the lounge area if there are any more questions which are unanswered. So you
Sure.
can catch up with the attendees and participants, and I'm sure that they're curious to know more about data engineering. So I thank you so much for this interactive session. I'm very sure it was very insightful, and for someone who's starting out their career, if they're or even looking to switch careers to data engineering, I'm very sure it answered a lot of questions. So thank you again for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thanks, audience. Thanks, Mr. Prasad, for sharing those wonderful insights. So yeah, please feel free to get in touch with us. Be happy to answer. Thank you all.
Thank you.